Hey guys, it's Mr. V and this is APES review video topic 5.9, the impacts of mining. Okay, so we've been talking about a little bit of energy in some of these and land use in some of these Unit 5 topics. But one thing to remember is that we need to have resources to get energy. We have to be able to move around, we have people to feed, and that's going to require energy of itself, and then of course manufacturing. So we have to extract a lot of those from the earth. So the best way to get to them, or at least the most efficient way right now, is through mining. Okay, so what's happened is that we've used a lot of the ore from the surface already, so that's the stuff at the top layer, and now we've had to reach further and further down, so we have to get more innovative and find new methods to get down into the ground. So one of the first ways we've done this is through surface mining. Surface mining is done where you it pretty much looks and sounds like what it is, where you take that top layer of soil, you dig it up, and the ore that's sitting there, you can pick that out and get what you need. And that ends up being pretty beneficial to us. The downside is you do end up having to destroy a lot of habitat. And so when we're looking at this, we're looking at surface mining. That's going to be taking it at the top. So that's a form of strip mining. You take that ore that's sitting up top, and the further you go down into the ground, the more expensive it gets. So you end up with a lot of what we call overburden. That's that rock that we remove, and that has to be put somewhere. And typically, if there's not a good regulation, it does end up getting put into water resources, and that can be a danger and that can be a problem. So there's some pros and cons. So obviously the pro is that it's going to be a very low cost energy that we're getting. That's why we still would stick with fossil fuels in the United States and around the world, is that it's easy to get to, it's lower cost, and it provides material to make other products. So, oil, for example, is used to make plastic and petroleum products like that. So now, of course, the cons are much more plentiful. You end up with mining wastes that can be soil and rock getting put into your systems that you don't want. You can have slag and tailings. That's the stuff that's left over once the ore is removed, and then something has to be done with that. It has to be maintained, otherwise it'll end up in water sources. And of course, you're destroying habitats. It can contaminate water and then release dust and methane into the air. And that's not also describing the subsurface mining costs. That can lead to insurance costs. That can lead to quite a bit of extra cost because you're putting people's lives in danger at that point. And so when you're looking at coal, right, that's the example to think about. Coal has been great as a surface fuel, but now that we've had to dig down further, it's much harder to get. So the reserves are getting smaller. It is expected, coal is, to last to the end of the 21st century, all the way up to 2100 and a little bit beyond, but eventually it will run out. And so surface mining is becoming less successful, and subsurface mining is now becoming more expensive, as we mentioned. The cost is much higher because of safety, and that's one of the reasons why the United States has moved away from coal. So they've now moved a little bit into natural gas and other resources because, and then not to mention, coal is one of the dirtier resources because of the impurities found inside of it. You can end up with mercury, with heavy metals in there, and of course, it's going to lead to things like acid deposition and acid rain. So here's some other resources you could use. Hopefully these are helpful, and hopefully this was helpful. Thank you very much.